Travel can of course be stressful, nobody can deny that, but I have one trick that I use to reduce that stress as much as possible. I'll share that with you as I tell you the story of this last day in Andorra and my travel back to Barcelona from Andorra. Stay with me, I'll tell you the whole story. This was my last day in Andorra and I was looking forward to going back, mostly because I was sick of those uneven footpaths in Andorra. Hi, I'm Sunny, you're watching Sunny Solo, your passport to solo travel, and I'm telling the story of my little trip to Andorra, and this is the last day when I got back from Andorra to Barcelona because Andorra doesn't have an airport. It's a very, very small country, so you have to travel either through Spain or France. Okay. So I had traveled through Barcelona, so I was coming back to Barcelona by bus. In the morning, I had a nice breakfast in the hotel and then went and did my checkout. I had to pay for my meals, all the breakfast and dinners that I had. It was like 52 euros for everything, which was pretty fair. Then I left there and I had my postcards to post. I've told you the story in the last episode, how the woman guided me to the post office and all of that. So then I had some time to wait for the minibus. And this is my trick, my formula for reducing stress in travel as much as possible. For everything where I can be late and just get by saying, sorry, I'm late, I don't worry too much about it. I try to be on time, but I don't take stress for that, okay? I'm a few minutes late, I'm a few minutes late. But everywhere where it counts, like some bus is going to go without me, or the train is going to leave whether I am there or not, or I'm going to miss my flight, for those things, I'm as early as I can afford to be. If I miss some sightseeing time for that, I do that. If I'm missing a meal for that, I do that. I try to be early rather than on time. Okay, so this time also I was quite early, so I had about half an hour's wait for the minibus. That minibus came on time, and then that minibus took me to the big bus which was going to take me to Barcelona. And that bus journey was as nice as I had remembered, because this time again I sat on the left. So coming from Barcelona into Andorra, I had sat on the left. So this time I was again on the left, so I got the other side of the scenery. Beautiful lakes, roads, mountains, oh, so gorgeous. And one thing that happens is that it's a very small country, so you get to the border very quickly. You don't realize which part is Andorra, which part is Spain, because they're all beautiful. It's the same scenery. When we got to the border, there was somebody who, okay, before I tell you this part of the story, let me give you one disclaimer. I am not stupid. Okay, I am not stupid. I am a smart person, I just do stupid things. Actually, that sums up my life pretty well. I'm a smart person who does stupid things. Now, here's what happened. This guard, uniformed guard with a gun and everything, boarded the bus to, check for, I don't know what check they do, because they don't ask for passport or anything, they just do a visual check. Okay, so he boarded the bus and then he went up and down in the central aisle, and I chose that moment to take out my little camera, my Osmo Pocket, and start recording myself for my daily vlog. I was doing a daily vlog. It did not last very long. And at that time I was doing it, so I started recording myself on the camera. So he came up behind me and he told me, excuse me. And his English was not perfect, but it was good enough that he could make me understand what he meant. He obviously meant, don't do this recording in the bus. I said, but I'm recording myself. He said, yes, but there are other people. I said, I am recording myself, because the language was the problem. So he was not 100% sure what he was saying, but I did get his meaning. So this is how smart I am, that I am arguing with this guy who's got authority, who's got an automatic weapon clipped to his belt, and I'm arguing with him. For what? Nothing at all. I could have just waited 5 minutes and then recorded the daily vlog. No. Like I said, I'm a smart person, but I do stupid things. Anyway, so he told me, so I turned the camera off. I said, okay, fine. And then he got off the bus. Then I started recording again. And this is the final verdict. He was right. Yeah. So when I looked at the footage at home, when I came back, my camera was actually getting the passenger behind me as well because of the angle. And I did see that person move out of the frame. So I was definitely in the wrong there. I will remember that next time I'm doing something like that. But yeah, I had to blur that person's face because he obviously doesn't want to be on the camera. So one thing that was a big problem in this journey was that I had come to Andorra from Barcelona in the same company's bus, and I had left my jacket there. Not by plan, just forgot it because the weather was so good that I did not need the jacket in Andorra. And I had sent them an email. As I told you in the last episode, I sent them an email. They replied back in the morning saying, we have not found it. Fine. So as soon as I got on the bus, I looked for the jacket. Let's assume that I was sitting on the left hand side on, like seat number 7, I think. So I looked in the overhead bins for seat 6 and 7. There was other people's stuff there. My jacket was nowhere to be seen. So okay, fine. So I put my bag and then we started, sat down thinking like maybe I will get it back, maybe I won't. And the jacket had my driving license and credit card and bank cards and everything in the pocket. Then as we got into Barcelona, and then there was a city stop, and then the next stop was going to be the airport. I was asking somebody like, oh, is it the airport? So the guy behind me actually told me without being asked. He just volunteered the information. He said, this is going to be, first it will be Terminal 2 and then it will be Terminal 1. So 2 comes first and 1 comes afterwards, something like that. I said, okay, cool, thanks. So then I sat down and then I noticed as the time was getting closer and closer to my, arrival at the airport, so that this bus had a clock which was 20 minutes ahead. And the bus that I had come in was also 20 minutes ahead. That clock was also 20 minutes ahead. So I thought, is it like a policy that all of this company's buses have 20 minutes ahead of their time for some reason? Or maybe it is the same physical bus that brought me to Andorra. So I thought, okay, it's worth trying. Maybe let's move other people's stuff out and then check if my jacket is behind that. So I got up before we got to the airport terminal and looked in the seat number 6 overhead bin. Other people had gotten off by this time, and there it was, my jacket in the overhead bin. Like, I was so happy. I picked it up. I obviously recognized my jacket, but I looked in the pocket, found my cards and everything. Thank goodness. So now you know that when they say Andorra is a very safe country, was a crime-free country, nobody had taken my jacket in the 2 days that it had been riding in the bus back and forth. Nobody had even looked in the pocket to see if there was anything, like money or anything in there. There was some money and cards and everything. So I was really happy with that I was reunited with my jacket. Then we got to the airport, and also I also told you in the last episode that I had these 8 postcards. So I had some postcards that I posted from Andorra. They were Andorra postcards, and these ones that I had bought them from Barcelona, but did not get the time to write them until I got to Andorra. So obviously I had the postage stamps from Spain, so I could not post them from Andorra. But I had asked ChatGPT, my best friend at the time, that can I post them from the airport, and it said, yeah, you can post them from airport. There's a post office there, there's a letterbox there, you can post from there. So wonderful. So I went to security and everything, and then tried to find the letterbox. Could not find the letterbox. So then I asked ChatGPT again, like, where's this letterbox that you told me about? He said, oh, the letterbox is there in the terminal, here, you go there. Like, is it before the security or after the security? It said it's before the security. Damn. Again, I had done a smart thing. Like, I had not checked from ChatGPT as to exactly where it was, or whether it was before or after. I thought it would be after the security check. So then you would find it very hard to come out of the airport terminal once you go through, because most of the traffic goes one way. But then I saw this one door which had 2 armed guards at it, and I asked them. I knew it would take me back to the terminal outside security, but I asked them just to be more courteous. Can I go out this way? If I come out, do I have to come back again through security? They said, yeah, okay, cool. So I went out. I had enough time. Like I said, try to be there as early as possible. I had a choice to get there half an hour before or 2 hours before. So I got there 2 hours before, so that I would have enough time, relaxed time. So went out through the crowd. I found the letter boxes, posted the postcards, and then I had to go back through the normal channels again. So now you know, I'm sure you've seen this on the airports, that they have these automatic readers. So you have the boarding pass either print out or on your phone, and then you scan it on the little screen, little glass opening, and it will open the door for you, the turnstile. So because I had already been through that once, and I am a software engineer by profession, so I know how these things work, that it would have me somewhere in a database, it would have me as having entered, so it would not open for me again. I knew that, but I again tried it because when I had come out I had not scanned anything, so for all intents and purposes I was still inside. So I scanned it again, it did not open, obviously I knew that. So I asked the person who was there, the guard who was opening the door for people who were having issues with their boarding cards, and I asked him. He did not hear my question, he did not even wait for me to tell the question. He simply said, turn the brightness up on your phone. This is what happens when people have been doing the same thing over and over again, and because that's the problem that most people would have at that point. So he told me, they gave me the same advice, standard advice that he was giving to everybody else. This time I was genuinely smart. I did not argue with him. I simply turned the brightness up on my phone, scanned it again so that he could see that I'm scanning it. The door did not open, so he said, okay, show me. So I showed him and I told him I have been through once and then I had to come out for something. He said, you've been here once. Okay. So he said, show me the passport. So I showed him the passport and then he opened the gate and let me through. I think I had to come out a third time for some reason. Yes, the third time the reason was that I had a bottle of water which had some water in it, and there was no place inside to throw that water away. So you could throw a bottle if you had a bottle, but my bottle was something like a filter bottle. I could throw the water away. I'm just not going to throw my bottle away. So I had to come out again and then I had to go again. This time the guard did not even ask for my passport. He said, like, yeah, come on in. So he just opened the gate, let me in. Then finally I was in. I still had lots of time to rest, so I found a shop where I could buy some food, like a little cafe kind of thing. So I had a baguette and a mango milkshake. I love mango milkshakes. And the total was 16 euros, which I think is a fair price. In the city also it would be the same. So at the airport, it was not jacked up prices. Like in London, if you have like a £3 sandwich somewhere in the city, when you go to the airport, it will be about £7 or £11, something like that. It's stupidly expensive. But in Barcelona, it was the same price. After that, it was just the normal flight. I had to book my flight, like my seat much further, like 5A, so that I could have the window and not have turbulence. Always afraid of turbulence, but no turbulence. It was like a nice uneventful flight, uneventful train and everything. So I won't bore you with that stuff. But the sum of this whole thing is that Andorra is very much worth going. Just when you go, either take a SIM card or make sure that you have some sort of a mobile network, because your Spanish card or your EU card or your English card with roaming will not work there. And be very careful of those uneven footpaths and roads, and in the buildings as well, shop fronts, you can stumble and fall. I had that big bloody fall. Bloody not, I'm not cursing, it was a bloody as in I did see blood on my knee. But other than that, it was nice, lovely people, very safe environment, very small city, Andorra la Vella, very, very small city, but very big shopping center, very nice shopping malls. You can get food there as well, vegetarian food also. It was lovely. So it's very much worth going, and I would say about a couple of nights is quite enough for that. And if you want to go from Barcelona, that's good. Otherwise, you go to Nice, I think, in France, and then you can take a bus from there. Stay with me for subscribe and watch for the next episodes, because there are much more travel coming, lots of travel stories coming up as well. And I always tell you these stories, the real story. Everything that was bad, I will tell you. Anything that was good, I will tell you. Anything that was great, I will definitely tell you. So you can learn from my mistakes and plan your own travels. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.